Fred Costello, Supervisor, Town of Saugerties. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Excuse me. We are broadcasting live from our studios here, 16 Lucas Avenue in Kingston, New York, and we'd love to hear from you. 331-9255. Election Day 2021 is now in the history books, and if anybody has any comment, first of all, congratulations, Supervisor Costello.
Thank you very much.
Very, very strong showing.
Yeah.
And
it's great league. Every election has its own rhythm, but it's a humbling experience to have your friends and family and your peers in your community still support you. And it was humbling last night as well.
Yes. Yeah. And I believe we have Supervisor Bill Mckenna from Woodstock joining us virtually. Good morning, sir.
We do. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much. Is Fred there?
Yes,
I'm
he
here.
is.
Congratulations, pal.
Fred, congratulations to you as well. A hard-fought victory.
I'm sorry?
A hard-fought victory, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just telling Greg, though, that it doesn't, the emotions about it are still the same. It's very humbling for our families and friends and peers in our community to still trust us enough to do these jobs.
I was thinking about that myself early this morning. We've been doing this for 18 years now, and we're still getting that support. And, we've had to disappoint people along the way with some of our decisions, and yet, I think a vast majority recognize that we're working hard at this, and it is humbling. It feels good.
It does. It really does. And it's kind of, we really don't, we speak to enough people, so we think we know what's on their mind as a community, but election day is really where the rubber hits the road, and you know exactly what's on people's mind. Exactly.
Now, you have 2 new board members?
I have 2 new board members coming on in January, correct.
Okay, very good. And I wish you well with them. And I'm in the same boat. We didn't have a contest here, but I have 2 new council people in January as well. So,
yeah.
Well, no, actually just one. I mean, Peg's been on the board.
Yes.
Okay,
correct.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Greg. Greg's right.
Yeah.
So Peg is filling out the balance of a vacated term currently.
Right.
So come January, she will begin a new 4-year term.
Right. Okay.
And Zach Horton is the new board member.
Yep.
That was the second. I think Peg polled more votes than him, but it was pretty close. But it was the top 2 vote getters. And congratulations to him. And by the way, congratulations to everyone that ran.
Agreed.
Even those that were not successful, just to get involved with the democratic process. Congratulations to everyone who ran, took the initiative.
And the vast majority of people that get involved, especially in local politics, I mean, that their community is in their best interest, and they're really doing it out of love. And it does help, even with the losers. It helps elevate the conversation and the dialogue and the direction.
Yeah, you always hope that is the case. Unfortunately, there has been, at least they've been rare cases where it's not the case. But I agree with you. For the majority of the times, they have the best interest of the community, and that's why they get involved.
Yeah. So, and I took a quick look, Fred. It looks like most of our colleagues who were running for re-election, most of the supervisors were successful.
Yep. I was actually, it's a little scary. We're thinking alike. I saw Rich did well in Marbletown.
Mike Baden.
Mike Baden did well. So our breakfast will have a lot of the same faces. It looks like Al Lanzetta did not make it.
That was a close one, but yeah, it looks like he was bounced. And I guess a couple of communities, Shandaken, we're going to have a new supervisor, Hurley. So there'll be some old faces, some new faces.
Is Hurley? Do we know who won in Hurley?
I haven't seen the final results, and when I looked last night, it was within a couple of dozen votes.
Oh, wow.
That one might end up going to the absentee ballots.
There was a couple of tight races. I think the council seat in the town of Ulster is very tight, with Rocco Secreto having a small lead.
28 votes separate
tight.
in Hurley supervisor.
How many?
38 separates
38.
them.
Okay, that's a little bit more than I thought, but that's still an undecided race, I'd say.
And that's just a point, once again, every vote matters. And it's so hard to motivate people to understand that, but they matter. And in these local races, there's at least a handful where, they're only separated by very small majorities.
Yeah.
I think the council seat in Ulster is single digits that's separating the victory from the loser. So
Wow.
that's tight.
In which town?
Ulster, I think Rocco Secreto's in a tight race, only up a little bit.
Oh.
Now, I thought I saw that there was a newcomer who ran, and actually she polled highest.
Yeah.
So they've got at least one newcomer.
Yep.
And then Rocco and I think it's John Morrow, who are both incumbents or battling out for the second spot.
Yeah. Curious the newcomer did as well as he did. That's because in the Sorgeries race, Peg now is kind of a household name. She was a tax collector for
Many years.
Many years.
Yeah.
And so she had that element of incumbency. Plus, she had sat on a board for about a year. So
She took over for Paul's seat.
correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So
So she knows the ropes then.
yeah. She's nice. She's a good-hearted person, and she's there because she wants to work hard for the community and feels she still has a lot to offer, which she does. And she represents a demographic that was obviously very supportive of her re-election this time. So and she's been excellent to work with. So
Good.
I look forward to that. I haven't worked with Zach yet, but congratulations to him. He ran a very effective campaign, and come January we'll figure each other out a little bit.
Right.
But actually, before then, I think the pattern has been, it's when I was thinking about Greg's service as supervisor, there was Leanne, Greg, and I were together for a good portion of the time we served together. So there was a kind of a continuity and a stability in the framework of the board. And I haven't really had that yet. I've had a lot of new faces.
You have,
So,
yeah.
I would say the same thing. When I got first elected in '03, it was Jeremy and Gordon and Steve Knight, and there was continuity there for a while, and then Jeremy came back, and we had more continuity, and kind of lost that for a while, and so this is a fresh start.
Yeah, it's
We
gonna.
also had a bond issue for our office renovation, which passed nicely, so I'm excited about that. Looks like we'll be doing a construction project next spring.
Congratulations! You've been working on that one for a while.
Yes, yeah, they do. And people lose sight of that. A couple of people asked me just before the vote, why all of a sudden in the spring? I says, we've been working on this for 3 years now. Probably 4 years I've been talking about it. So,
Yeah.
It's nice to see it get to that point. Of course, now this is where the real work starts.
Oh yeah, construction projects are always an adventure.
And refresh my memory, Bill. How large of a project is that? What is the cost estimate?
So the cost estimate right now is $3 million. When we started, 3 years ago, the original estimate was around 2.1, 2.2. So it's up to 299, and most of that is from the pandemic. The incredible increases we've seen in wages and labor and materials. So, we put that number up. The architect, the last couple of months, has noticed that there's a slight decline in prices. So, we're keeping our fingers crossed that next spring is a little bit more productive bidding season.
I've heard folks express that optimism too. It seems like there's at least been a stability because
it's stopped rising at least. Correct.
Yeah. So because we are hopeful that we're going to be able to start our animal shelter next year, and we haven't done an estimate that would tell us whether the impact of all that has pushed the budget to a point where we have to continue the capital campaign or not.
Right.
So it's going to, we're going to get it done one way or the other, but clearly there's going to have to be a compromise either in the scale of the project or in the effort by the capital campaign to go back out and continue to fundraise.
In all the capital projects, so this would be the fourth one between Jeremy and I. And the first three, I knew every one we had compromised. We got the bids in; they were higher, and you've got the opportunity to either increase the amount of the project or stay within the confines. We've always stayed within the confines. We felt strongly about that, and that just happened to work for our project. I'm sure there are times when it pays to spend the additional money, but it's always a balancing act of trying to figure out what you can, do without and adjust. This project's got a couple of different stages, so it may be a little easier if costs come in higher than we expect to make adjustments. But it's going to be a good project. We're excited about it.
When do you plan to go out to bid?
My guess is sometime in February we'll be going out to bid.
Well, it's probably a good time.
Yeah. End of January, early February, and that gets us started with construction in April. Is I think what would be.
What's the time frame of the project duration?
Somebody asked me that the other day, and I don't know that I've seen a timeline from the architect. I'm going to guess that we're looking at 5 to 6 months. But it's going to be staged, so we're looking initially at a 2,500 square foot addition, which will bring all our departments that are on the second floor downstairs and make it ADA compliant. Then we're going to renovate the existing building where the town clerk is, so she'll have to move. And then last, we have the supervisor's cottage over here, which will be the last phase that we work on. And that's got some ADA issues. The bookkeeper, I don't know if you've ever been in the office, but she's like 3 steps down from the main floor, which is not handicapped accessible. So we look to bring everything up to code.
It's a challenge, though. I'm thinking of our building, and the topography of the site makes it almost impossible to get into the building without stairs on most of it. And we created a new entrance in the hopes it would be handicap accessible. And we weren't able to achieve a grade that would make it accessible. So it's improved in a long shot.
Right.
We did a pretty substantial retaining wall to elevate the ground, but the hill behind us was all rock, and we couldn't get through it all.
Oh.
Unbelievable. So now we have the new entrance, and we're going to formalize that entrance with some siding improvements and hopefully a covered area of some sort to kind of define it a little better. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to get away from as many steps as we can. One of the cruelest ironies of the town hall in Sargaties was that in order to get a handicap permit, you had to climb 6 steps. And, the town clerk's great. She sends her folks into the parking lot to do it, but we wanted to get away from that. And we have been able to achieve that. But we weren't able to get the parking area level enough so that it would qualify as a true handicap area.
Right.
Yeah, for handicap parking.
Right. So, we have a similar situation. We've got the Sasser Building Department and the Planning Board up on the second floor. And all 3 departments have been just absolutely wonderful over the years about going down. But it's not fair to the applicant or the resident coming in. To have to be treated special like that, and it's not efficient going up and down and dealing with files and going back and getting different files. It's so this is an exciting step in the right direction.
Yeah. At some point, we're going to have to consider some type of further changes to the architecture at our building. When they first moved in it 22 years ago, the supervisor's office is kind of tucked away upstairs, and it's still there. And I certainly am happy to come down and meet residents where it's comfortable, but that's not a good layout. And now that we've created that new entrance, the geometry of the space kind of got redefined, and we can do significantly better if we reconfigured some of the counters and reorient a lot of that. But we're not talking about a capital project anytime soon.
I hope not.
We're not. No. Greg's got plenty of going on.
You need a break. I get it.
At some point down the road, though, if it's not me and the board I'm working with, it will certainly come up again, and there's an opportunity there to do significantly better.
There is. There is. There's.
Hey, Fred, we have to leave something for the next guys.
Yeah, we can't do all the work, right?
So, what else is going on in Saugerties?
Oh, we've got a.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah, where do you want to start? We've had a lot of exciting things happen. Halloween was successful for us here this year. I think, I applaud everyone. The schools, the couple of the community organizations did the trunk or treats, and they were all really well attended.
The trunk or treat was just unbelievable. The
Yeah.
amount of people. I never expected the people that we that we got. It was constant.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. So we actually did a trunk or treat right on Canton Field, and boy, it couldn't have been better attended.
No.
It could not have been. And a lot of the community groups were there with a strong presence, and were supporting the kids trick or treating, and it was pretty nice.
We had a great. We were almost back to normal with what we do. We closed down the main street in town. Actually, we detoured traffic. I don't think we're technically allowed to close down the highway, but and I think it was as big a crowd as we've ever had. But it's a great event. You can, people. There is room. People can distance as much as they feel comfortable doing, and we had our costume parade back in action, and people had a good time.
It's fun. There's a lot of other holidays. It feels like there's an event that defines it, but with Halloween, there's multiple different events. A lot of the elementary schools do a trunk or treat event. The one on Canton, the parade in the village. There was a lot happening.
Yes.
And without incident, it went terrific. So congratulations to everybody. It was great. And the week prior, we did Touch a Truck, and the efforts from the Touch a Truck are going to any proceeds that were raised go towards the reconstruction of the Small World Playground, and that was well attended and well supported as well.
And just with the Touch a Truck events and the food truck festivals, Marge had given me an updated financial, over $20,000.
That's incredible.
Is in the foundation.
Wow! Congratulations.
So we're with that amount of money, if we can identify a grant, we can actually start planning to get a construction project underway, which is exciting, and compliments to Greg's staff. We stretched every opportunity every year we could out of the original playground, and at some point, and it was definitely time as we disassembled the old one, the structural supports had begun to decay.
Right.
And, even the pressure-treated wood that was in the ground just started to fail. So
right.
we did as much as we could with that. And Greg's staff was able to preserve many of the pickets that were bought by sponsors. And a lot of folks came back and got the picket that represented their family or loved one who sponsored it. So, when we get to doing the new one, hopefully we can reincorporate some of that.
Nice.
And all that's been cataloged, so we don't want to forget all the people who volunteered and donated their time back in 1994? 95?
Wow.
95. I don't know, 94 or 95, one or the other.
It was a while ago.
It was wild. No, I think it was 94. I think it was right before Woodstock. I'm surprised, though, that there's been a lot of people who did pick up their pickets, but on the other side of the coin, a lot of people, I was surprised that did not. but they're all cataloged, and my vision is that when the new playground gets built, all those names will be put onto a large plaque,
or-
if you would, and so those names would never
Get
be
memorialized.
forgotten.
Yeah.
So do you have playground equipment ordered, or you're still in the planning phase?
We're still in the planning phase.
We did apply for a CFA grant. I mean, if we get that, that is going to be, that's going to help tremendously, and then we're probably going to have enough money to at least do phase one.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, that's the other thing I've told people is that, you know, even though the price tag from Leathers was up close to $200,000, that doesn't mean that, you know, you have to get to $200,000. You can do it in stages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole Cantine complex evolved over, and
True.
it continues to evolve
Yeah.
over 35 plus years.
Right.
So it doesn't have to happen overnight. And, you know, when people see new playground equipment going in, it's going to generate some enthusiasm, and it's going to hopefully generate where more contributions
Right.
come in.
Right.
The pickleball courts, Diane Myers stopped by yesterday with another $1,000 donation sponsor from a company, and you know, that fund is starting to grow to the point where we feel there's enough funds in there to relocate the road, Court Drive, and also Albert Riazzi will be excavating the base, and that we have the funds to purchase the item 4, which
Right.
is the first piece to go in. So here again, you know, as I told Doug Burt is heavily involved with that project. As people see what's going on, that is going to generate, hopefully, enthusiasm and hopefully generate more funds.
Yeah. Agreed.
We had decided to replace. We had about $100,000 in the recreation fund that we decided to use to replace equipment, and we ordered it in the spring. And it was supposed to be delivered in June, and of course we were all very excited. And the highway department went back. They had a call, you know, it'll be here next week, and they went down and started to tear out some of the equipment. And the next week, well, oh no, it's going to be delayed a little bit, and it delayed and delayed and delayed. Long story short, it showed up yesterday.
Oh, good.
And the installation crew is supposed to be here today, so we're cautiously optimistic that by the end of the week or early next week we'll have a new playground.
And where's that going, Bill?
Andy Lee Field on Rock City Road.
Oh yeah, I'm very.
You know, it's not a very big area, but you know, it was just a nice little area where the younger kids could play while the older kids were out on the field and whatnot, and so we're excited about that. We also bought a couple. We have another small up by the ball field at Rick Volt's, and we took out a couple of the better pieces of equipment. We're going to move that up there with a couple of new pieces of equipment.
Oh, wow. It's a pretty substantial upgrade going on.
But yeah, we're excited about it.
Good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Bill, you guys had a leather-style playground for a little while, too.
Oh, what
A
style?
leather style, the custom pressure-treated wood type playground.
They got rid of that a while ago. Well, ours was all the vinyl-coated metal and plastic.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had a leather style all wood playground. No?
No, the elementary school did at one point.
Okay.
That's on 375.
Okay.
That was nice, and that was all community built, I believe.
Yeah, that was the history of the small world. Those, you know, it was sponsored by the community and hand built, which was pretty amazing.
Marie Post was heavily involved with that. Boy, I remember that first day, the number of volunteers, and everybody had their assigned tasks, from assigning tools to getting information that we had to, at the time, fax down to the county. So if any of the volunteers got hurt, they would be covered under our workers' comp. It was quite a process. It was very enjoyable to be part of it.
Yeah. You know, those community events like that, I go back to the one of my favorites. There was a Bluestone sidewalk in front of the cemetery on Rock City Road. And Rock City Road is a county road, so the town had no real claim to it. The county said, no, it's not ours. We have no claim. The cemetery didn't feel that it was their property. So a bunch of contractors, and actually I'll give Mike Stock was really the lead, or one of the leads on this. We got together and, over time we raised some money and finally tackled the project. And there were probably 35 or 40 different contractors on that job. And it was the most incredible thing because we'd all show up on a Saturday morning. Nobody was in charge. 3 guys that go this direction, 4 guys that go this direction, somebody else, a couple other guys. And it just got done. And it took us about 4 weekends, I believe. But it was just very satisfying, and everybody felt the same thing. It was really enjoyable. One of the neighbors got a little cart, and at 10 o'clock she'd come by with coffee and give everybody coffee and danishes and whatnot. And then other volunteers brought lunch, and it was a great community event.
Always enjoyable, and it's always great to see the community getting involved, and that's been one of the things that's been a sincere pleasure for me over my many years is the number of volunteers and the using entities of the complex, Sorgady's Little League, SAA, Babe Ruth, the amount of monies. Geez, I don't know if there was a dugout up there that that the Riazzi's didn't participate in, or a press box, and now we got third generation. You got Albert Riazzi. He's going to take on a lot of the construction for the pickleball courts, and it's just so great to see. And there's so many people, especially those that come in from out of town. The outside tournaments, even the American Legion baseball state baseball championship that we host. One of the first things, how big is Sorgady's? And I tell them what the population is between the town and the village, and they say, how can you afford something like this? And if I had to take a wild guesstimate, and that's what it is, a guesstimate. What is there that was originally purchased, the capital outlay? I would say it's probably more than 50% non-taxpayer derived.
Right. I would easily agree with that.
I know it's a wild guesstimate. You could never put a figure on it, but you look at the outfield fences. You look at Jack Keeley back in 1981. That was the first field, Cantine, where he paid for the high-quality infield mix, and then it became a domino effect. The next year, Little League did 2 of their fields. A couple years later, 2 more, then the SAA. So with that, there's a sense of where they take ownership.
Absolutely.
They take ownership.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they continue to make repairs. Just this past fall, Little League put 2 new roofs on, and Kiwanis put a new roof on their building that's there.
Guys, I got to duck out for a minute. Do you have a guest at 7:30? You want me to call back in?
We're not certain. So if you don't mind, why don't you call back in?
I'll call back in around 7:35, 7:40.
Our sheriff is supposed to be on, but
okay.
We'll see. I haven't heard anything from him. Chief Stenager is not going to be able to make it.
I think they both have the same commitment.
Oh, Sheriff Figueroa won't be on.
I think so. I don't think so. So call back, Bill.
I'll call back in a little while.
Fill a half hour and no problem at all.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go to break.
We're going to go to break. Back in a few, listeners.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Screening exams for breast, lung, or colorectal cancers are necessary to detect and treat disease at its earliest, most curable stage. But you may have some concerns and questions. Answer your questions and ease your fears by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness, you'll find more than 200 descriptions of radiologic exams, procedures, and treatments to help you prepare. Get informed and be prepared. Visit radiologyinfo.org. Produced by the Radiological Society of North America and the American College of Radiology.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome back, viewers and listeners. 331-9255 is our call-in number. In the studio here with me this morning is Supervisor Fred Costello from the town of Saugerties.
Good morning. Good morning, listeners.
And I forgot to mention, we have also a new highway superintendent in Saugerties.
Yeah, Ray Mayon.
Ray Mayon. Congratulations to Ray.
Yeah, he's
Won the Hurley supervisor. Did Pat Garrigan win?
I don't know. We got to look it up.
Superintendent or supervisor?
I think it was supervisor.
Supervisor, because
that's
the current
close.
supervisor did not seek another term. So that was...
Hurley?
Okay, so I see with the propositions, it says 19,100 and something yes, 17,000 something no. So the propositions passed?
Not all of them.
Okay, all it says is the one thing right.
I couldn't find the results of the propositions.
So I went to dailyfreeman.com, and it says there's a yellow line up top, unofficial Mid-Hudson Valley 2021 election results.
I believe the proposition that raised the cap on what the city courts in New York could handle passed. I think the same-day voting, I don't want to say for sure, but I believe that did not pass.
It says Ulster County proposition, 19,400.
Well, that was probably had to do with the charter.
Okay, so that one was yes.
What was that? That there was about transferring personal service funds to other expenses, prohibiting it, I think.
Prohibiting it, I think.
Yeah.
And then, but the other ones were statewide, and it was a mix. They did not all pass. I don't remember exactly how that went. Just a lot to comprehend from last night.
Yeah,
The back of the ballot took longer to fill out than the front. Well, I think that's common, though. We were fortunate because Kevin, when he was with us last Wednesday, went through the proposition. So I benefited from him sharing his thoughts on them. And but for folks who didn't take the time to look before they went in, you saw folks reading there for a while.
You hit the nail right on the head, because I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have, and he detailed most of them very, very well. Because as you said, otherwise, if you didn't have that, just to take and read it, I mean, and I think that's why it was taking, people maybe longer, because I know when I went in about 6:30 to the Greco Center, I just couldn't get myself for some reason to do early voting. I had to do
I know, Greg, but I regretted it. Because I
So you did it last year, right?
I did do it last year, yeah. And then we made the conscious that we wanted to vote on election day this year. But early voting is so relaxed.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start doing it. And here, the thing is, there were 2 or 3 occasions I had to go into the Greco Center and talk to.
Right past the equipment.
The young lady, Mrs. Ferguson, I think, who used to work for the Board of Elections. She was kind of like the person in charge. So, like when Neil was doing his vaccinations, I wanted to obviously touch base with her, let her know what's going on. So all of a sudden, she didn't look out, or one of her election inspectors, and here comes somebody in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Neil had two successful. Speaking of Neil Smoller,
Tuesday and Thursday, right?
Tuesday and Thursday of last week, and he may be doing some additional. And now I'm just wondering, now that the 5 to 11 has been approved, he may focus his attention on those. Anybody could have went in and got their vaccination, whether it be their first shot, second shot if they were at time for it, or their booster if they're eligible. But his emphasis was on high school students that play sports, those that play SAA youth sports. And he did very successful. I got an email from yesterday or Monday on the thing, and it was good. Good to hear.
Congratulations to him, because it was, you and I were, and Mayor Murphy were a small part of his evolution, but he had a vision right from the get-go, and it was exciting to watch how his vision, especially, working in Woodstock with Bill, just developed into this machine that was able to dispense mass quantities of vaccine. It was really something pretty special to see. So congratulations to him. And, this is one of those rare moments where we had the right person at the right time.
That was quite an event at the school.
Yes, it was.
Especially the first one.
Well, we learned on the spot.
Thank God we had, who hopefully is going to be joining us back, Bill Mckenna and his wife.
Yeah, they were
because
great.
They had done it in Woodstock, and they gave us some really good pointers.
Sure
where,
did.
We might have been running around like shepherds in search of its sheep.
Yes, we would have been. That experience that they were brought to us and shared was a great foundation to get us started. But even at that, the volume was so big. It was, I remember during the day at one point kind of laughing at ourselves, because at our meeting at the beginning, we came up with a plan.
Yeah.
And that lasted about 15 minutes. Right. And the school administration was great too, because they just rolled up their sleeves and jumped right in and helped organize. And at the time, that was a really critical thing to do. And it was an honor to be part of it.
Boy, how fortunate we were to pull away Kirk Reinhardt from from
we got
Kingston.
lucky there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, he's top notch.
He is.
Top notch.
The whole administrative staff.
The whole administration over there. Dan Ersick.
Terrific. Tim, terrific. Tim, the whole crew. We're gonna forget people if we try to list names.
Yeah.
But it was. Everybody just jumped right in. It was great. And Randy Ricks and that staff too. They just jumped right in.
Randy and Mike Lotterette. Yes.
They were all great. So that's what Sargis is all about, that community.
Yes, sir.
It was pretty cool.
We got a couple announcements here we probably should do.
All right. I'll start one with all are invited. The Wreaths Across America, the Sargis VFW Post 5034 is sponsoring a bus trip to the Saratoga National Cemetery. Remember the fallen, honor those who serve, teach our children the value of freedom by placing wreaths on the grave sites. This event will take place on Saturday, December 18th, 2021. It's $15 per person. We will be leaving from the Greco Center at 10 a.m. and returning about 5 p.m. We will have a cash lunch stop along the way. To purchase more wreaths, the cost is $15, and you can make your check payable to the VFW Post 5034, P.O. Box 152, Sargis, New York 12477. For more information, you can contact Bob Howe at 845-246-8510. They have a little slogan: "Don't say I should have, say I did." And I haven't gone, so I really should go. They do a good job.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. And Bob Howe's been, I think we touched upon this last week, quite a number of years.
They've there too. They got that little core of 6 or 7 folks that resurrected the VFW and turned it into a viable organization. Certainly, Kevin has been a terrific part of that, and Matt
Russell,
and his dad, and boy, what a blessing they've been through the whole pandemic.
Look at what they did for us, when we were doing the
Food.
the meals. We couldn't have done it without them. No way.
Nope. It was pretty special.
So we next up here, we got the Snowflake Festival. That's happening on Friday, December the 3rd from 6 to 8 p.m. right here in Uptown Kingston. And it's being sponsored and presented by the Kingston Uptown Business Association. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And they're going to have a raffle, which closes November 15th. For kids under 12, winners must pick up bike at the festival. Big thanks to the 2021 bike sponsors, Catskill Hudson Bank, Berardi Real Estate, BHHS Hudson Valley Properties, and the helmets and locks will be provided by Bike Friendly Kingston. So again, that's at the Snowflake Festival, Friday, December 3rd, 6 to 8 p.m. And it says Uptown Kingston. Doesn't give a precise location, but I'm sure if you
Obviously, Front Street's important.
Yeah.
And but they're the business community really embraces that. Kim, my wife, took part in that probably 5 years ago or 6 years ago, and she had the honor to decorate the Senate House.
Oh, nice.
And that festival was really embraced by the business community in Uptown, and everybody had some contribution. They got hot chocolate and cookies and decorating. It was pretty special. So.
And a week from tomorrow, actually, let's back up. We got to remind our listeners and viewers, tomorrow is the WGHQ Happy Christmas Fund. And Bob Circusano and I will be doing our part from 11 a.m. to noon. And then right after us, the gang from law enforcement will be in. Sheriff's Department in Town of Ulster, City of Kingston, Town of Sorgetes, State Police. And for those listeners and viewers who regularly tune in, there's some conference, and that's why we do not have Chief Sinagra this morning or Sheriff Figueroa. I doubt if anyone from the State Police is coming, but we are expecting, I believe, Kyle Berardi, who's the police chief from the Town of Ulster.
I think, now that Sheriff Figueroa and Chief Sinagra are celebrities because of their music video, they just don't have time for us anymore.
I guess that is the case.
But that's for our listeners. The George Strait came out with a new song, and it's in honor of law enforcement. And Chief Sinagra and Sheriff Figueroa are both part of the video, and they were invited to New York City last week to be there for the unveiling of the video. And it's a good song, and it's a really nice celebration of law enforcement. And congratulations to both those guys. They did a good job in the music video too. So nicely done.
And it certainly doesn't surprise me that Chief Joe Sinagra just jumped at that.
Jumped at the opportunity.
'Cause I think he jumps in front of cameras. And
you have a point. You definitely have a point. But really cool. I mean, that's playing internationally now. So it's nice. I'm so happy for those guys. It was really great, and they did a super job. And obviously, George Strait speaks for himself. So, good stuff.
It is good stuff. And then moving ahead to a week from this Thursday, November the 11th is Veterans Day, and I know there's a lot of Veterans Day events going on throughout throughout the county. In Sorgetes at 11 a.m. at the American Legion Post 72, John Street. That's the official address. In the back of it, that fronts Petition Street in the park, the Donlin Park and parking lot, is going to be they're going to commemorate Veterans Day. They always put on a really great event. I don't know if they have a speaker this year, a keynote speaker. Jimmy Gage has been involved with that forever. I know still plays a role in that. The Legion, Bill Payne. I saw an email from Bill Payne just this morning that the museum is going to be opened. For those that haven't seen the museum at the American Legion Post, they have done just a phenomenal job over the years. And there's something else that we talk about evolving that continues to grow. That museum, and Bill Payne has been such a dedicated, hardworking individual that has seen all this come to fruition. Obviously, he's got a team, but he's been the ringleader.
He's had the vision for years.
Vision and one of those shakers and movers that we're very very fortunate to have at the American Legion Post. Ray Teeter, who's now the current commander, he's very engaged, and a lot of stuff has happened at our American Legion Post.
For anybody from Saugerties who's never had the opportunity, it's worth, it's not going to take you a long time. You can spend an hour up there and you get a pretty good sense of it, but that will motivate you to want to go back. There's a really, beginning with the building and the significance of Lamoury and Hackett, that building represents a celebration of their service in World War I, I believe. And there's memorials upstairs and artifacts collected from Saugerties residents who served in all those conflicts. And it's kind of really an interesting experience and a good opportunity to reflect. And we all have family members who were part of that. So it's kind of a really good way to celebrate the community and remember, especially on Veterans Day, those who served.
Absolutely. And you could kill two birds with one stone because obviously, Veterans Day is one of those holidays that you should take the time to remember all the veterans and attend, such as an event ceremony that the American Legion Post. It's not a real long event, and then go visit the museum. And I believe they're going to have refreshments afterwards, hot dogs.
Traditionally, they've had hot dogs and
last year
soft drinks.
we did not do that because of the of the pandemic, but I believe this year they are. I guess I wasn't on my game because I just didn't put two and two together, and of course Chief Sinagra didn't let me know until I had to call him yesterday on a completely separate matter that he wasn't going to make it. I could have reached out to Bill Payne. We've had Bill Payne on before.
Bill would be a good. I was thinking that too, Ray.
Yeah,
He hasn't been on in a while, and
It
he's
would
a terrific
would have been
guest.
perfect with Veterans Day just being a week away. But like I said, I guess it wasn't on my game.
No, it was Bill's a treat. He's got a depth of knowledge.
Oh my God, was he ever?
Oh, his political history. He could certainly teach a class and talking about the formation of political parties, and really intriguing and interesting. And then obviously his knowledge about the wars that the country's been engaged in and the legacy of those conflicts is really great too. So he's what a resource we have in Bill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then a truly nice person. Good to spend some time with.
And
One
another
of my favorite things they did, I think it was 2 years ago. It was definitely before the pandemic. Was they had a speaker come in and talk about the Spanish-American War, and one of the featured artifacts was the bronze that was made from the sunken ship, the Maine.
right.
And that used to be in Malden, but it was always tampered with. So now it's safely secured at the American Legion Post, and it's a novelty. And I enjoyed at that moment we were talking about some improvements to the Malden Bigelow Park, and Paulie Bigelow is the one that secured that bronze.
Yes.
He had relationships, and he was credited as kind of the reporter of the Spanish-American War to the European community at the time. And the relationships he built during the war gave him access to steel from the sunken battleship. and they used that bronze to make that memorial, which sat quietly and largely unnoticed in the Bigelow Park for many, many years. And then the bronze was removed and returned, and it now safely housed at the American Legion Post.
And that's where it should be.
That's where it should be.
That's the appropriate. That's the appropriate place for it.
There's a small part of me that wishes we could put it back on the main the masonry part of the main monument is still at the Bigelow Park, and Greg and your staff, you take care of that very well. But the bronze is not part of it because it wasn't safe.
Right.
And certainly in a different way, I get it's better at the Legion. It's safe there.
Yeah.
And that's something that certainly should be preserved. And the legacy about that in the Bigelow family is really an interesting side note, not just for Maldonites, but for all of Saugerties. Their family basically founded Malden, and they had a rich history in Glasgow as well because they used to provide cut bluestone to the New York City construction market. And their transport of that bluestone down Glasgow Turnpike and Malden Turnpike to the riverfront, and then it was barged to New York City and used for sidewalks and curbs and all of those things. So interesting. And their family was certainly well educated and well versed. And the Bigelow family's credit was starting, I think, New York Newsday, which became the legacy newspaper. And Pulte went on and had a successful career as a journalist, but he was certainly much more than that. He became an ambassador, and he lived a very eccentric life in Malden, and his stories are legendary. And he used to have these annual barbecues, and because of his cosmopolitan lifestyle, he brought all these giants of politics and industry to Malden for those barbecues in the summertime. And Kaiser Wilhelm was a close friend of his. The Roosevelts were close friends of his. The Fords, and they all would come to this barbecue in a little
amazing.
tiny hamlet of Malden. Yeah. The documentation exists that kind of talks about that. It was really a who's who of international commerce and politics, and at a very interesting time leading up to World War II and that gap between. So pretty just dynamic and really exciting and fun to explore and kind of make those links of what's happening internationally and bringing it home to Saugerties is a interesting and fun exercise.
Yeah, and you hit it when you stop and think. In this little small hamlet of Malden,
Oh my God,
that
yeah.
would happen every summer.
Yeah.
A lot of history there.
A lot of history. It's pretty cool. And a lot of it's somewhat still there. Tying it to something else, Augusta Savage was a really well-known sculptor, and she did. There was these children that she would make bronzes out of, and she was really famous for that. But she also did a bronze of the Bigelows. So that, I believe, is still in Saugerties, and God knows what that would be worth on open market. But hopefully it never leaves Saugerties. And it hasn't been out for public view in probably 15 or 17 years. And hopefully there's an occasion in the near future where that piece could be brought back out and shared with folks who've never seen it. I've never seen it. And hopefully we could do that someday. It would be great. But it's still here, and it's safe, and that's the most important thing. And
Right.
the legend about it's known. So
Good stuff.
good stuff, yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Herman Knaus, I think, was the one who commissioned that. He had a relationship with her, and even though she was a successful artist, being African American at the time, she wasn't able to sponsor her career, and she struggled a little bit to make ends meet. And he would give her work, so to speak. They had the thriving mushroom business, and somehow he got involved in cancer research, which also happened in Malden. And
Wow.
she was
I
part
know.
of his employment.
Didn't know any of that. Huh?
And he commissioned that bronze of Pulte. So thoughtful and really something cherished, and makes our legacy in Saugerties significantly richer.
Then you take, Glasgow. What transpired down there over. So
Yeah.
a lot of history and a lot of good stuff. And
Really interesting stuff. The Bigelows were part of that too, though. The land,
Glasgow?
Yeah, the land. The Solante family bought their parcel from the Bigelows, so
did not know
they
that
would
either.
bring bluestone out of High Woods down Glasgow Turnpike and load it to the river. But Malden was obviously their primary spot.
You know, you stop and think what people were able to accomplish without the technology, without a lot of the equipment. You know, you just have to stop and think. The Erie Canal.
Oh my goodness,
You know,
yeah.
you stop. They didn't have all the equipment and the resources that are available today. Even the Empire State Building, excuse me, when that was built. But to think, and you look at some of the buildings down at Bristol Beach that were put up. That one, I mean, the structural integrity of that building has never been jeopardized.
Not a bit, nope.
It's in great shape considering the age of it, and of course the weather in the Northeast. But you look at some of those other ones that have partially collapsed. Back in those days, what it took to do some of this work, and the pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids. You could just go back and you could just start rifling off.
You're
one
right
after
on.
another.
Yeah, you're right on. There's obviously the brick making in Malden and Glasgow and the Hudson Valley in general was a big deal. But when you look at the areas where they harvested clay and the scale of that mining activity, and then just put yourself in that mindset, they did that by hand with shovels, donkeys, and carts, and it was just incredible the scale of the work that took place, and to think that they did that without modern machinery is really it's breathtaking. It's unbelievable.
And in a lot of cases, those structures are in much better shape, and if we were unfortunate and had a severe weather event, buildings built today would probably collapse. Where those, you look at the grandstand building. There's another.
That's a terrific example.
At Cantine with the elevated seating above it, the interior walls, everything is brick, 14 inches thick. Interior walls, 14, and then you look at the H beams in the front of the building. To put them in place and to build that structure, and that was in the mid 1930s as part of a WPA project.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah,
because it was a little bit of a trick to get the roof on it when we replaced the roof.
When we replaced
so
the
tall.
roof, yeah, that was a little challenging. Yeah. Yes, it was. Well, we are at the top of the hour. Hopefully, Police Chief Kyle Berardi will be joining us after the break. We've got birthdays. We'll be back in a few.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
This is the story of Daniel, who was born 2 months early. His lungs weren't ready. His heart wasn't ready. His parents could only hope that one day he would leave the hospital healthy, and they would all live happily ever after. Daniel's is just one of the more than 500,000 stories of babies born prematurely last year. You can help the March of Dimes stop premature birth and bring more babies home healthy. Learn how at marchofdimes.com. Working together for stronger, healthier babies.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from Town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome back, viewers and listeners. This is the Wednesday morning edition of the Kingston Community Radio Show. We'd love to hear from you. Excuse me here. 331-9255 is our call-in number, and we have Police Chief Kyle Berardi here in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Awesome. And Fred Costello, Supervisor, Town of Sorgetes. And it is time for birthdays. So what do we got here, gentlemen?
Today, November 3rd, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Maggie Sheehan from your friends at People's Place. You hope you enjoy your special day, Maggie.
That's
It's
it,
the
just
only one. Yeah.
So Maggie Sheehan, guess what? You are today's winner. Congratulations. Happy birthday. When you get the opportunity, get down to Boyce Dairy Milk House right here at 62 O'Neill Street in Kingston. Pick up that famous cow pie, which is courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. Listeners and viewers, please continue to send those birthdays in and anniversaries. Very easy to do. You can email to kcr921@gmail.com. You can postal mail. Got to keep George happy. Yes. Can't say snail mail. No. You got to postal mail to Kingston Community Radio, P.O. Box 4364, Kingston, New York, 12402. So once again, Maggie Sheehan, congratulations. Enjoy that famous cow pie. Happy birthday, and have an awesome day.
Nice.
So what's going on in the town of Ulster?
Well, I was listening to you guys on the way in, and I like
that's nice.
I'd like to point out, you guys sound good together, I got to say.
Yeah, you're going to steal a lot of air.
But I like to say, and I'd like you two to duly note that the dedicated professional here that I am, I got a lot of empty seats around me.
You do have a lot of empty seats.
I just want to note that, that I'm here and they're not. So that's I want to get that out of the way.
Greg and I had a theory, that Sheriff Figueroa and Chief Snogger are celebrities with their video.
Well, see, at their position in life now, they have people that schedule things for them. So obviously they didn't schedule the morning radio show for them.
Yeah.
I still have to do my own because I'm not quite where they are right now. So that's how things work.
It's going to go from here out probably.
Greg no longer calling Joe directly. I mean, you got to go through his agent.
Through his people.
No, I still call him directly. I'm not going through his agent.
No, but in light of that, obviously everybody's seen that video by now. I think it was a nice touch. Cool. Good plug for Ulster County.
Yeah.
It was.
Whoa, look what we got in the room.
There's someone else that dedicated, okay?
I did hear you guys write me off real quickly. I heard it earlier. You said I wasn't coming, so.
No, I wasn't.
Nice surprise.
So, listeners and viewers,
morning,
at the front of the table here is Captain Mario Restivo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone?
Doing well.
Good.
And I got to say, no matter what I ever said about Mario, I got to say he's got my back on this one. He didn't leave me here by myself today,
Never.
See, that's the guy right there,
I'll see you at 10, and we're going to have your back at 10, too, even though our counterpart, Rob Lucchese's leaving us hanging.
There's this big conference, obviously I heard you talk about it, Greg. Yeah. There's a leadership conference up in Lake George. If I would have scheduled a leadership conference, it's probably been a couple months ago when Lake George was a little bit warmer. But that's where most of these gentlemen are right now, up in Lake George. A lot of police chiefs from the area. I guess Mario and I are stuck back holding down the county.
Somebody. It only takes two of us because we're that good.
Yeah. Somebody's got to keep us all safe.
There must be a lot of media cameras up there, right?
Well, they followed. They went on the tour bus with Joe and Juan.
Yes, yeah, and they had their own little. There's an RV behind the bus, and that's where all the media are. All of Joe and Juan.
Speaking of seeing Appleton steal the spotlight for your new position here, I mean,
the timing was horrible. I did have a conversation with him. I said, "Hey, you looked really good in the video, but why didn't you invite me?" But it was all good.
It was Mario Steve who at that time?
Yes.
Did you go to Manhattan for the grand unveiling or no?
No, I did not. No.
Okay.
Another thing I wasn't invited to.
That's right.
We're getting used to being left out on this end of it,
Some of us just have to do the work that needs to get done. I didn't go either, so.
Yeah, well, we're called the grunts, right?
That's right.
The ground people. We get all the stuff done. I think that was a wonderful thing that brought a lot of good publicity to law enforcement and first responders. It's important, our fire and EMS and law enforcement, to actually showcase what they do on a day-to-day basis that people don't see. The response and the necessity to response to emergencies to help the community is important, and that's what it did.
Well, it showcased everything together. Obviously, it's a collaborative effort, right? We all say it.
Mm-hmm.
We say it time and time again. It's not a one-man show out there. Definitely, it's fire, EMS, police. We're all working together for the same goals. So that gave a good plug to Ulster County. Obviously,
Yes.
I'm a homegrown Ulster County native here. Had local fire departments from Ulster County, police agencies from Ulster County. Local state police. So it was definitely a good plug.
It's cool. It was nice. It was really it's a good reflection. It's something we all, because we're here, we somewhat take it for granted, and we know. But to see it put in that lens I thought it was really good and interesting, and I think people are going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
timely too, because law enforcement and first responders have been getting lumped up a little bit, and it's nice to put another lens on it, and and that doesn't mean we leave behind all the efforts that were happening, but there needs to be some balance in everything. So it was, there was some. Well, in Minnesota, there was actually a referendum that supported law enforcement, I think, correct?
I didn't see how the results came out. It was either to disband the Minneapolis Police Department and create a public safety department of some sort, or I don't know how the vote went out there.
I was talking with, maybe we all know, a retired Chief Soul from Rosendale PD and also a lieutenant from the Sheriff's Office this morning, and he was saying that vote went resoundingly against moving away from police forces, and I think it was 57% of the vote said no, we're not standing for that. So that was really good.
That's good to see.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're starting to see across the board law enforcement as a whole, and obviously we have done a lot of work, and we still have a lot of more work to do. But I think you're starting to see that the definitely perception of law enforcement is starting to change a little bit this year compared to probably where we're at last year. And they're starting to see that we actually listened to them. We heard what the community was asking for us, right? They want better from us, so we're here to do better. Provide better service, provide better technology for transparency, and I think if anything, it's a collaborative effort between law enforcement and the community that we heard what everybody was asking us to do, and we're going to continue that.
I think. There too, it was widely acknowledged that what happened in that instance, fortunately, was somewhat isolated, but it was acknowledged by everybody who is sincere about doing public work that was wrong, and that event shouldn't happen. And I think the efforts we all went through to reevaluate the operations and procedures of our police operations to make sure that those opportunities don't exist here were helpful. And doing that in an open and transparent way were significantly helpful as well. And we have to build on that base and continue to move forward and always try to improve. But like how I'm saying, because we, it's certainly, as the supervisor of a community that has a police department, it's a big part of what we're trying to do. And, the residents need to feel confident that that agency is acting in their interest and is there to provide the service that they expect. And,
well, just like it's a service, like we say, we provide a service to the community. Unfortunately, it's not a, when you speak about taxpayers and stuff like that, unfortunately, we don't really generate revenue, right? We're not a revenue generating entity. It's a cost. It's a cost that's incurred as a result of of providing a service to the community. And generally, most of these communities appreciate the law enforcement they have. Some communities don't have the opportunity to have their own law enforcement, so that's where your local state and sheriff are picking it up. But those that have it, they appreciate it. The phone call away, the person to get in contact with, direct contact with. I'm sure Mario has the same thing. People that he's a local native too. People that call you directly because they know know where you are or who you are. Hey, can you help me out with this? Or hey, I got this for you. And it's just one of those things that they just feel connected to. They want to feel connected to it.
And sorry, is one of the things that kind of defines part of the law enforcement service that they provide. We have so many festivals. Yes. And we certainly couldn't do it. I mean, state police is amazing partners, sheriff's department's an amazing partner as well. But having local law enforcement sit at that table and kind of say, oh, this is an important priority, and the institutional legacy and knowledge that comes with doing it over and over again is really an important component. Folks from the state, we might get someone who grew up in Buffalo working here, and they're not going to have that institutional legacy to say, oh, when we do car show, this is an important area where traffic builds up. So, having that is a really important component. And for the amount of activity we have all summer between hits, the car show, the softball and baseball events on Cantine Stallions events, to make sure that goes off safely takes an effort. And, Greg coordinates with the police department all the time, especially when there's events on Cantine Field.
You look at the Garlic Festival, which obviously is our largest event that we host. But, as that started to grow in leaps and bounds in the early 90s, we had to take a real serious look at it because we had a lot of traffic problems. And I remember approaching Lou Barberia at the time. And the state police were very, very instrumental in developing with the town of Saugerties the traffic pattern. And I don't know how many people will come to say to me that no problems. There's been no problems with traffic. No this, no that. Even though that was developed in, I believe it was 1995. There's things as the years have went on. We still continue to change, to modify. As the situation has changed. And one of the nice things that we've got where, let's say, for example, when the train decided to come to a stop at the Malden Turnpike crossing, there was a contingency plan for that down Sparling Road and the wrong way on Mike Kraut Road. So it's very, very important, and it's so great to see. And we hear it all the time in Ulster County, how all the law enforcement and entities and EMS work so closely together. I'm sure it exists to some degree in other counties, but just listening to people that have come from outside of the area or the North Country that get reassigned here, there's a uniqueness to it. I really believe that.
It truly is. We spoke about it before, and it'll continue that way. I think I'm trying to recruit more local troopers to try and build on that local police force knowledge, just so that we have people that stay longer, and then the citizens of the county get more used to seeing a certain face. Unfortunately, with promotions and transfers and people moving to different locations, it's hard to keep people in my job. Where I know that Chief Berardi has a smaller agency that people stay within that agency normally, and the citizens get accustomed to seeing their face. It's tough for us, but I have some recruits that have come through and stayed. I've got a couple 20-year troopers that have
starting to get some
want to stay. Yep,
Ulster County natives, I'd say.
Exactly,
for the most part over the years, and obviously seeing not that that I didn't work well with all the other captains out there, but obviously I've known Mario here for 20 years plus. You know, we were detectives, investigators together. We worked homicide cases together. So it's that relationship you build over the years that you could just be like, hey, Mario, can you help me out with this? Or, vice versa. So
there's no replacement for that. Those bonds and legacies you build up over time, it's just, you understand each other's rhythm, and that makes a big difference.
And you can't make history overnight, know.
No.
So we have a lot of history with the local guys and girls and police agencies and even EMS. I mean, think of our our director of emergency services, like Everett Erickson. He's instrumental in bringing all of us together as well. Someone we don't mention a lot, but we see him, and he's in the background, doing stuff, especially during those emergencies that you don't typically think of police and fire. These the heavy rains that we just recently had, or some of these, immediate storms that'll roll through. He's at the forefront, reaching out to all of us, making sure that we're there.
Of manpower is obviously, and I would say Mario and I are pretty good at probably coordinating the law enforcement response, but to reach out and touch, and as Sorgity sees, the various different fire agencies. I mean, some communities can have 5 or 6 different fire districts.
That's us.
Try to reach,
that's you guys.
Reach out and touch all of them and kind of bring them to the same table. And that's where emergency management comes into play. People take for granted the fact you dial 911 and somebody's there to answer the phone.
A real testament to that was your July 4th, the July parade, seeing all of the people come together, EMS, fire, all the people in the community of Sorgity. That was fantastic.
Pretty cool. Yeah. We're lucky because there's kind of there's always that appropriate amount of tension between the agencies, but fire, police, ambulance, the highway department, because they, in those emergency storm responses, they're key, and Central Hudson. There's those relationships exist, and we've been able to successfully manage a lot of storms, and unfortunately they come at a higher frequency now, but we've been able to pull it together, and a lot of times those decisions happen on the fly. There'll be a tree with wires in it on the road, and as we're trying to address that, 3 more will pop up someplace else. So to organize that, those resources to make an appropriate response is not easy, and you're making those decisions on the fly. So it's important to have people with experience and the knowledge and the know-how to make sure. And there's kind of hot spots that you have to be sensitive to as well. There's areas.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's continuing problems, and like State DOT is making improvements. You'll see out on 28 where they elevated that bridge and changed the roadway configuration there so that we didn't have the flooding, and that was really helpful this past storm. But there's still work to be done. Some of the lower level secondary streets were flooding, but how did the town fare during that last storm?
We did pretty good. I mean, obviously the Eddyville hamlet suffers quite frequently down there. Every time you get some heavy rains, 213 and Creek Locks Road flood. Yep. But nothing on, not to say it's not bad for the residents, but obviously no major infrastructure damage occurs down there. Minor calls for response down there, fire, EMS, and police, but we fared pretty well. I mean, earlier in my career, I watched a lot of storms go through and worked a lot of storms. 2004, 2005, watching residents get flooded out and taken away. Some of them got taken away, swept away by floodwaters. So. I remember the second time I went around house to house knocking on doors telling people they had to get out, and the look of devastation on their face because they just remembered the year before and what they had just been through. And it's just like, if you don't go now, I don't know if I'll be back to get you. That was the way he had to tell people, and I'm sure you've experienced that over your career. I'm here now, but it might not come back.
Oh, we might not be able to drive down here.
Look who's here.
Holy cow.
Good morning, Sheriff.
He might have been listening. We guilted him in.
I was really busy signing autographs this morning.
He was listening.
There was a whole crowd of people outside my front door this morning.
Well, how'd you even get into the studio? Did you have to bring a detail with you to kind of?
I had to get a tow truck to open up the door downstairs.
So you're not. So unless they cloned you, obviously you're not with Sinaga in the RV that Captain talked about going home.
He has his own private car, you know.
I had to fly in on helicopter.
And for our viewers and listeners that may not recognize the voice, how can you not? Sheriff Juan Figueroa, great to have you.
I think I come in for the last half hour.
You look very, very sure.
Embrace everybody. Actually, we're going up to a conference later on today.
I'm not with you this one.
Oh, you're not going?
No,
to this
I'm not with you this one. I'm staying back. You know, Mario and I are taking care of Ulster County for you.
Okay, great.
You know, if you want to deputize us now or something like that, you know, just in case we got to act on your behalf. You know,
I had to come in. I got to stop at the office. I got to take care of some paperwork and then get on the road later on.
Starts at
11:30.
Yeah.
So
Now, is this the same one that Chief Sinaga is?
It is.
So why couldn't he be here?
He was probably dealing with the autographs too.
It's not easy.
You know, it's not
Congratulations, though.
For those that don't know, we were on a video, George Strait's "The Weight of the Badge."
Yep.
And it's they filmed a bunch of first responders here in Ulster County. I don't know if you guys talked about that this morning or not.
A little bit.
But we talk about it secondhand.
That was a good plug, Ulster County.
There was a lot of folks from Ulster County, and if you Google it, it's on YouTube. And we went down as guests down to New York, down to the city winery to watch the unveiling, and it was sponsored by the First Responders Children's Foundation, and they're an amazing group that started after September 11th to support the cause of the children of first responders that died during 9/11, and they continue to do great work. And I just wanted to let you know that about that it was a great opportunity for us in Ulster County, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I watched it. I saw my predecessor there, right? So I saw Captain Appleton. I believe his father was also.
Yes, his father was a retired major from the state police in Massachusetts.
Yes, he was.
And it was great. It was a lot of fun doing it. And of course, you know, we were riding each other a little bit. I mean, you know, they videotape you. You don't know how long you're actually going to be on video. So if you're videotaped for 4 hours, if you get 3 seconds, you're lucky.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff going on, as we know, here in Ulster County. And, you know, we got the holidays coming up.
Yes.
You know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and other holidays. And yesterday, I just wanted to say one last thing before I jump off, because I know you guys want to say, is I want to congratulate all the folks that were involved in the process yesterday, Election Day. Whether you want to lose, whether you win or lose, it's just important to be a part, and it truly is. I want to thank you for stepping up to the plate and getting involved to represent your communities, and how honorable it is to do public service. It really is an honor to represent the people. I've been doing it now for 2 years and 11 months, and I got to tell you, it's the most honorable thing I've ever done. Whether it's 22 years in the Marine Corps, the state police, it really is an honor. I'm just still getting used to having 180,000 bosses, though. That's
you get a lot of free advice.
Yes.
And they know your name.
Congratulations to all of you that won, and congratulations to all of you that participated. And if you did lose, try it again, because it really is an honor. And again, I congratulate all of you for being being in this process. And democracy is unique to. It's not unique to this country, but the way we do it is unique to us. So congratulations to all that participated.
Greg and I touched on that a little bit earlier. You know, to truly test it, you need folks willing to participate on all sides. And, you know, unfortunately, only one person is going to win that particular seat. But, you know, it wouldn't be the successful dynamic that exists if there wasn't that competitiveness to it.
Absolutely. If we wanted a table full of people that agree with us all the time, we're in the wrong line of work.
It's true.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you had a nail biter up there for your race, Supervisor Costello?
We did. We were also talking about that. You know, I was fortunate this time, but
it's got to be a testament to what you're doing. If
you like to think so, you know, it was it's humbling. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and you know, we take it seriously, and we want to try to represent everyone, not just people that support you. and do as good a job as it can be done. And it's humbling. It's a lot of responsibility, but there's a component of it, especially the day after an election that was successful, that really reinforces why and the emotions that go along with it. So we're going to enjoy the moment that we have for today and then go right back to work later tonight.
Absolutely, and you only succeed after trying. I tried it 2 other times before I succeeded as the county sheriff, but it's something that I wanted to do, getting involved in my county, where I don't know where I would be if my parents had moved me up here in the 70s to Ulster County. And it truly is an honor and it is a humbling experience. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to try and lose, but come back. You learn from it. You really do learn from it.
You held another office too, though, didn't you?
No, I was a notary.
A notary? Okay. All right.
So, which is considered, I had to actually give up my notary when I became the sheriff.
Did you really?
Yeah, you can't hold 2 offices at the same time. And if you're elected, you have to give that up. So I had to give up my notary.
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually a public office. People don't know that.
Yeah, that's curious.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it is.
There's all those things that you were able to witness before. You're not eligible to witness any longer, right?
Right. Well, I mean, if you leave office, you can put in for it. Take
you
the
go
test
back again. Yeah.
But you have to take the test again. So, but yes, I tried for town justice and I kind of got drafted for a supervisor to run for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a place setter. I like if I'm going to run, I'm running.
Right.
And so both those times I was unsuccessful, but it led me to where I'm at today. And I'm very lucky, and I learned from it. Each one of those experiences gave me, a different view of what it is to run for public office. And it really is a unique experience for those that never tried it. And I think if you believe in our government, if you believe in bringing some pragmatic thought to public service, to office, then this is definitely something that you should try.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, I think my experience, it broadened my perspective in so many ways, because as you always try to become a better person, so you try to put yourself in other people's shoes to understand their perspective, but holding an office forces you to do that. And trying to balance my own goal of trying to achieve whatever we're working on, but also be mindful that other people have a different view. It's an interesting balancing act.
It is. That's a great perspective, because you have to, when you're in elective office, you know the party that got you into office, but once you're in office, you represent everybody. And you have to think how others think. You have to be aware when you make a decision, it's the best for all, not just a few. And that's the importance of governing.
Yeah, it's definitely had an impact in me as a person in a positive way. I've been able to kind of break out of my own narrower view of things. Still hold on to that. That's the base that gives me the tools I need to make those decisions. But I could certainly get better over time at taking into account other people's views and perspectives, and it's useful. It helps.
It's an eye-opening experience. When I was in the Marine Corps, I went to many different countries and saw how they lived, and how we live is so different than other countries.
Yeah, we're very
we take a lot of things for granted here. Running water, electric, 24/7. Wi-Fi, and toilets that flush. I mean,
the roads we have.
Yeah. We take a lot of
all that's
infrastructure.
brought about by public service. Obviously, those elected officials that have a vision.
Yeah,
just have that vision to bring something there. Paved roadways or internet capabilities, which still is we take for granted in this local region.
Yeah.
But I think I believe the rest of the county doesn't have that luxury as much as we do.
Agreed. Even in Saugerties, though, there's pockets that just are not served, and that's a priority for us. We're trying very hard to bring that. It's as important as a road nowadays. Especially during the pandemic, you have families that were, trying to teach their kids from home or work from home, and without an internet, that's almost an impossibility. And it wasn't uncommon to see somebody hanging out in a car, working on a laptop, and at the library or someplace else where there was some Wi-Fi they could gain access to.
That sure is a big topic. Last week there was a budget meeting, at the county level, the legislature and the county exec's office, and that conversation was about an hour on how here we are in 2021 and we still don't have internet access for everybody in the county. And people want action, and hopefully that's going to come pretty soon because they are talking about it.
Yeah, there's some new federal funding, and we engage in a really interesting public-private partnership, and we're applying for a number of grants through that partnership right now. And if we're successful, we're going to be able to establish an alternative source. Right now, basically, you either have spectrum or you don't. And this would be a fiber network for Saugerties that the revenues of that will be plowed back in to continue to expand it if we're able to establish it. And I'm really hopeful and optimistic that we're going to be successful with that. Right. So, we got a good partner, too. So we'll see how it goes.
No, Lawrence had texted me and said we can go right on through the break because a celebrity walked in and you were a little bit late, so we don't want to take airtime away from you. So we're going to forego the break.
I'm blessed to be is that I'm even allowed to be in the same room with.
Oh my God.
With them anymore,
Oh boy.
One week I was in a training conference with him. The next week, it's like
signing autographs.
Yeah, I mean he's past me.
Yep.
You guys know I was joking. That's pretty funny.
And look at I love that tie that you've got.
Sharp.
Your top hat. You look sharp as a knife.
That's because I have no hair and I have to wear a lid.
It's that season now. I can tell you that.
Right?
It was cold this morning.
Because as we know, me and the chief have the same barber. So absolutely, you got to cover that head, and a large percentage of your heat goes out through the head.
Yes, it does.
And this that time of the season where you get your colds, the flu, and I hope everybody got their flu shot. And I'm not going to talk about vaccinations because I'm sure we talked about that already. But flu shots, don't forget to get your flu shots.
I had mine.
Yeah,
I had mine.
I get mine.
I get it every year.
That's the things to do.
I got mine once in my lifetime. In the 41 years I've been alive, I got it once, and I got the flu.
That cured you. Now you don't want to get it again.
And that kind of set the tone from. And of course, you had a doctor's version of it, and I'm sure it is because I don't. You already had the virus. It just inhibited it. By getting the vaccine, but keep my fingers crossed. I kind of try to avoid it. Not that I'm against vaccinations. I'm just against the flu vaccine right now. So
I was hesitant to get flu vaccine for a long time, but then my physical. It always felt like it was a month later than the year prior, so it ended up landing right when the flu vaccine was coming out. And he's like, "You're getting your vaccine today," and you can't argue with your doctor.
The funny thing was, I'm more hesitant about getting the flu vaccine than I was to get the COVID vaccine.
COVID one?
It came out. I was like, sign me up.
Have I get the booster shot yet, or I haven't done it?
Did you have it, Craig?
Have you done the
booster? I haven't gotten a booster
I haven't
yet.
gotten the booster either, but I think I will at some point.
I will too.
They don't.
Time allows.
The only thing I'm curious about is they don't really give you there's a set time frame you should be getting a booster. It's like, kind of like when the COVID vaccine first came out. It was, they gave it in stages, right? Everybody knew when you were going to get it, and that's when you're supposed to be getting it, and
when the second shot, the precise date.
Now it's like the booster is like, it's available if you want to go get it. Right. Well, the problem with that is obviously everybody knows your normal course is just to be delayed on everything. It's like, okay, I'll get it. There's no pushing.
Mad rush to go first.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of that was, at the beginning, the manufacturer of the vaccine dictated that we prioritize who was eligible when. Now there's an abundance of opportunity for vaccine, so anybody, if you are willing to get in line, you can get it, which is good. That's we've reached that maturity where the market is meeting the demand. And hopefully now we're going to start seeing vaccine rates go up in other countries, so we can suppress this thing a little bit.
Well, ironically, the mandate down in the city for law enforcement, although there's a lot of obviously there's some contention on that, they got up to like 85% with the first responders.
And with all public employees in the city, it's 92%.
I mean, you're starting to see that some of these cities were grappling with manpower, I think, issues coming forward with all these mandates. Obviously, I don't believe there's any community in Ulster County right now that's mandating it, and the state of New York hasn't officially mandated it. But other like city of New York and things like that, and other cities across the country, first responders were mandated, and they were starting to see issues with manpower,
the staff.
Yeah, hospitals I know ran into the same issue. Obviously, nurses and hospital staff, and the concern was if they were going to be able to meet staffing at that point.
It started with the military, where they mandated a few months ago with the military, and I think no one's really heard too much about that. Some folks did leave and get out, but most got vaccinated.
Well, the military, especially if you get deployed overseas, they line you up and you get vaccinated for everything.
Oh my God, yes. I used to get
COVID vaccine is probably at least your worries of what you're
I
getting.
used to get at least 10 vaccinations per year, and it's funny. After I retired from the Marine Corps in 2006, I started getting sick. I started getting the flu. I never got the flu before.
Really?
Yeah.
You think it's because
I wasn't getting all those vaccinations, typhoid and yellow fever, and those things hurt.
Yeah. Well, with the military, though, vaccine plays a significant role in our preparedness as a nation, all the way back to the Revolutionary War.
Absolutely. That, along with your dental,
Make sure your teeth are healthy.
If you have 2 or 3 cavities, you're not going to get deployed. Because out in the battlefield, there's nothing worse than having a toothache. You're useless.
Yeah.
So they're not going to take you out there. So those are big things, vaccinations and making sure that you're ready to go. And those in the military know we're constantly getting vaccinated, constantly. So
and
that's one thing I don't.
Federal labs were but part of the federal labs was set up to make sure that we had a prepared and capable military, and having folks that were deploying overseas, typhoid and all those others, being vaccinated from those, so that we didn't send guys over there and end up sick, and you have a disabled fighting force.
I understand the concerns. I mean, on both sides. I know we weren't going to talk about it, but since emergency services and vaccinations, I understand both sides of it. But I understand these municipalities that are trying to mandate vaccinations because they're concerned about first responders.
Sure.
Keeping them. Obviously we've seen through the whole early COVID. I got to a point where I was concerned if I was going to meet my staffing levels. The continuous rate of infection was outweighing the number of people I had to deploy. And I'm sure every law enforcement agency around had the same issue. Fire departments I know had the same issues. And it does
become an issue because you're responsible for public safety. And if you don't have people to go out there and respond to crimes or accidents or fires or ambulance to go out, then that's a big problem.
It's a huge problem.
And so
it's easy for someone to come in and expose 5 or 6 people, but that's your whole shift. Now what do you do for the next 3 days? You have to send everybody home on quarantine for 10 days.
That was one of the reasons why I went and got it, is because I probably reach out and touch just about everybody in my place, not physically, but in general. So it was like, I would have felt horrible if I infected a whole shift, or vice versa. God forbid I got infected by them and I brought it home to my family. So I was trying to counteract both of them.
Exactly, because we didn't have the opportunity to stay home and work from home. We have to be out there every single day. And I was as most of you folks know, I'm a proponent of the vaccination. I think it's important that you get vaccinated. There are no mandates, but I definitely, when I talk to the rank and file, I'm like, hey, you should really consider getting the vaccination. I mean, it's a smart thing to do, especially if you're out interacting with people every single day. And like the chief said, you bring it back to your family. And what if there's someone that's elderly that you're responsible for, or has a immune deficiency? Now you're looking at harming somebody in your family or a loved one because you didn't get vaccinated. So I always tell my folks that it's not mandatory, but please get vaccinated.
There's really good reasons to consider it, and it's not just about your health; it is about people you care about, and keeping them safe too.
So I haven't looked at this in a bit. So the total percentage of 18 plus in New York State, throughout the state, 87.7%. And then if you throw in the youth, it's 74.4%. Oh, those are some good numbers.
Those are good numbers for New York.
Those are good numbers. And
you read, you've been seeing in the news, and obviously, I know the news is a little bit delayed sometimes on reporting, but the fact is that they're saying, rates have been kind of maintaining a steady, infection rates have been maintaining a steady here just in Ulster County for for the most part. Yeah, I'm sure that's not a good sign, but at least we're not seeing a dramatic increase.
Right.
You know.
Well, also the other piece of the puzzle is, and unfortunately, within my staff, my team, there's been 4 individuals who had been vaccinated, got COVID, but they're all vaccinated, and in all cases, fortunately, the symptoms were very, very mild. One had called me 3 days later and said, "I feel perfectly fine. Can I come back to work?" I said, "No, not until, the county says 10 days, it's 10 days. But, you just have to stop and think, and you hear of these stories, and you see on the news, I can't put out of my face the dying father with the child on the other side of the glass window in the hospital, and how he was on his last days wishing he had got the vaccination. So, I mean, I've seen that with, like I said, four of the 4 team members, but their symptoms have been very, very mild.
So we have contact tracing like everybody else does, and we actually have a pretty good system in place. But at the sheriff's office, everybody gets tested, whether you were vaccinated or not, just because of that reason. And we had one issue last year in December where the entire pod was, positive for COVID. They were asymptomatic, but nonetheless, we had to test the entire facility. And so it's been it's a challenge.
So
even with the flu at the county jail, when somebody gets sick, it just spreads. It's like a petri dish down there.
What's the frequency that they get tested?
So we try to do 25% a week, at minimum 25% a week. But if you can do more, do more.
So basically once a month.
Everybody, basically once a month, right? Whether you have a symptom or not, and plus we still have contact tracing. So if somebody does have it,
that's being
everybody.
proactive. That's being proactive.
Yep. Just
How do you do that? You send them to the county facility?
Yes, we're lucky. The county authorized us to do it in our own facility. So we have a clinic at the jail,
Okay.
and so the nurses there do it for us. Plus, we also do go to the county. There's 5 different shifts. We have 2 12-hour shifts and then 3 shifts for the jail. And so it's real difficult to get everybody at one shot. And remember, we still got to run a jail, and we still got to go out there and take calls. And so it's difficult to do that when it's such a spread out and large county. So it's been successful so far. And, we tell our folks, if you don't want to take the county test, you can go and get your own doctor's test, but you got to get a doctor's test. You can't go and buy an over-the-counter pack. That's not going to cut it. And so it's been working, so far. And again, we're just trying to get through it like everybody else. Hopefully next year we won't be talking about
That would be a memory.
this anymore. I'm hoping.
That would be great. Yes,
Yeah,
fingers
we all
crossed.
feel
Fingers
that,
crossed.
yes.
So I came in sort of midstream. Sorry about the absence.
You'd come back
I know.
and join us again,
Hey, duty calls the phone, so always running.
Busy guy you are.
So we're talking about COVID and testing.
Right.
We have, obviously, the state has a policy now as well. We test our members weekly if they're not vaccinated. So they're actually they call on the phone, they order a test, it comes to the station or their residence. They take the test at home or at work, and then they send it back out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
I like
actually
that.
pretty efficient.
I do like that. That's interesting.
I'll save on.
Give me some ideas.
I'll
here.
save on some, I'm sure, overtime costs that you're incurring by.
And that's right. I do give overtime just to make sure that they take the test.
You allow the employee to do a self-test.
Yeah, they're self-test.
Okay.
And there's, that's a different angle, but it's just one way to make sure that, people are staying healthy. Like 2 of my members just recently, they were both COVID positive and they were vaccinated, And I understand that, the vaccine doesn't stop from getting it, it stops the symptoms. One of my members, unfortunately, symptoms were pretty great.
Rough.
And we were in a training last week or whatever, and I'm happy I came back. I'm like, man, I felt great. I don't feel like I got anything. I'm like, man, that's good. Up with all your members, I was, hoping they weren't getting me sick.
I had a dry cough. I still have the dry cough, and I get tested.
He was coughing on us for 2 days
before I went up there. That
Chief
day,
Sinagra was like had a plexiglass screen up.
We may have found the origin.
Tested before I went to the conference that morning. I got tested. So what I like about when you go to the conference is that either you first of all you have to have proof of vaccination, or you get tested the day prior to the going to it, and so it was a great conference up in Rochester, New York. And before that, I went to the homicide seminar up in Albany, and again,
On the state police's dime. Look at this.
Yeah, I was
County
surrounded.
Sheriff, we're training that county sheriff very well.
Listen, I got to keep up to speed with everything. I mean, that's
It's
how can
evolved.
I lead if I don't know what the up and coming
Current trends are.
Absolutely. So yeah, I got tested every time I went, and the first time when I came back, I got an email saying there was at least like 7 or 8 people that got 6 of them were vaccinated. So of course I went and got the PCR test, and all came back negative. But everybody had a mask on, but when you're sitting down and eating, well, you're not necessarily having a mask on. So that's probably how it spread. But you do what you can.
Do what you can.
And it's just been a unique time in humanity. I'll just say that. It really has been.
Mostly optimistic about how things have trended, especially with regard to hospitalization rates, because even though we just went through the Delta spike, the hospitalization rates for that spike came nowhere near to the original wave. However, we're about to get forced indoors because of weather. So I'm a little bit worried, that we might experience a
Holiday
spike.
season, cold weather.
Yeah, we're going to be hanging out with folks, and
Luckily, for the most part, my dinner table is people I see on a regular basis for the most part. So I'm hoping there's no major concerns. It's my favorite holiday. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday.
It's the best
I
one.
remember what happened last year.
Turkey and football.
I know.
I got to say mine is Christmas.
I don't want to start that turmoil again. Please.
You're not going door to door on Thanksgiving?
No, I never got invited again. After that, there were no more invites from the governor.
Last year, I spent Thanksgiving with my wife, and that was it because I got sick. That was when I had COVID, like 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Oh, so it was just you and her, huh?
Just me and Kim, yeah.
You knew
Good company, but she didn't really appreciate the gift I brought home. I can tell you that.
I bet she didn't.
No.
Well, you guys got to spend good quality time together.
Yeah, I don't know if it would qualify that way, but I always enjoy your company.
Thanks. I love Thanksgiving, but my favorite is Christmas.
I like Thanksgiving because it's the same benefit you get from Christmas. It's got without all the hustle and bustle of Christmas, presents and stuff like that. I have young children, so they're still a couple of them are still into the belief. Hopefully they're not listening to her in school.
Yeah. This is a delicate topic.
So
You're talking about the belief that it snows every Christmas.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
That belief. So that's why I like Thanksgiving. I like turkey. I like the whole Thanksgiving meal. So I think you get the same benefit. You get to gather around the table with your loved ones, and you get to enjoy the night. And you don't have to worry about shopping or getting a Christmas tree, or for those that celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever the case may be. So that's my opinion.
And there's football.
Yeah, there's the turkey. Well, there's football on Christmas as well too.
It's not the same.
All right.
I'm a New York Giant fan. Let's not talk about football.
No,
It was a tough week. I'm a Giant fan as well. It was a tough.
So am
I
I.
thought they were going to pull it out, but
That's because you guys are gloating because the Jets finally came up with a win, and now you're.
That was a huge win for the Jets. Listen,
they knocked me out of 2 survivor pools, including his.
Oh, sounds like the Jets.
You're not alone though.
They probably
great.
Took out a lot.
And I bet if the Giants had held on, or that referee did not make that face mask call, that was not a face mask.
They might have.
You probably would have been down to maybe 1 or 2.
I think we might have been split in between everybody that was left. It was
Greg's a little sensitive about that call over there. I mean,
yeah.
You got to blame somebody.
The opening series, and what gets me the most about when I'm watching football is I'm sitting in my living room, and I could tell what's going to happen, and I'm sitting in my living room. So if I can tell what's going to happen, of course the defense is going to know.
Yeah.
He's looking right at the receiver, and he throws right the ball, and it gets picked off. I'm like, come on, I can see that right here.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Look around.
Before the show
around.
Before the show started this morning, Lawrence is kind of thinking that Judge is gone and a couple of the other coaches are gone. I mean, with your line of all the positions and stuff, maybe you ought to put in. I mean, if you can see these plays on TV, imagine what you can do on the field.
If you watch him throw the ball.
He's.
Yeah, I mean, we need a new general manager. Maybe you should fill out an application.
But he's telegraphing what he's going to do.
I hear
and he
you.
does it all the time. It drives me crazy.
You know, I said,
does.
I've been down to 4 games. My seats are in the end zone, the lower tier, but it's got some elevation, row 37. And I tell people, they'll say, "Where's your seats?" I say, "In the end zone." And they think, "In the end zone?" You can see every play develop. You can see, you almost like you stated there. And especially when they're down on your side of the field, and you just wonder, you see this. Doesn't the coaches see this? Doesn't the players that are getting multi-million dollars? All right, I got to shut up. We got a call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air with Kingston Community Radio.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing today?
Good morning, George.
Fine. How are you doing after your long day yesterday?
It was long and extremely busy. All those poll workers made their money, earned their money yesterday. We was packed from 9:30 to 12:30 down in town of Lloyd, and then from 2:30 right up until about 7:30. Wow. And what took so long with all those propositions?
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. The back of the ballot took long.
That was a lot to read.
The back of the ballot was it took longer than the front of the ballot.
And that was my fault. I should have kind of informed myself ahead of time a little bit more.
Well, you see, if you had listened last week when Assemblyman Cahill was on, he detailed each of them quite eloquently.
He did. I benefited from that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And Mr. Sheriff, I want to wish you a week early happy birthday. And I think you know what next Wednesday is.
Well, thank you very much, Supper Fi, and I'm glad you brought that up. And happy birthday.
Others of you, it's the Marine Corps birthday next Wednesday.
That's right. And
November the 10th.
Thank you very much for bringing that up. And Semper Fi, and happy birthday to all our Marines out there.
People there, thank you for the job that you guys do every day during the year. There's a lot of people out here that respect you and all of your officers, and we appreciate what they do so much out there every day. And Sheriff, one of you and Chief Sinagwa are going to be getting your Academy Award.
My part was really small. I'll get an Emmy or something, but not the Academy Award.
A link of that video and stuff, and I watched it and everything out. It is fantastic. And
it's fantastic.
Especially Chief with him looks like he's getting ready to shed a couple tears and everything else and stuff. But I tell you what, that is so true. There is a tremendous rate of those badges that you all wear, and people need to realize that. And it's not that, and you guys never take the job lightly or anything. So thank you guys all very much, and everybody be safe and have a terrific day.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, George, and likewise.
Have a great day, everybody. Hey, Fred, congratulations to you, too, even though you really didn't have to sweat nothing out. But
thank you, George.
Glad to have you around for another couple years.
I don't know. He had a write-in campaign going against him.
Yeah, a write-in campaign.
The people couldn't write that much. Fred does a good job. So you guys take care. Have a great day.
Thank you,
George.
Thank you.
Have an awesome day. Geez, I wonder who might be winning the cow pie next week. But there's a stipulation, being that you're a guest, you can't.
You got to first of all, you got to submit it though. You can't just.
I think somebody's going to submit it.
Oh, okay.
If I was a betting man, if I didn't get in survivor pools and all that other stuff.
Yes, they're eligible. I don't know if the co-hosts.
Well, no, wait a minute now. I thought the stipulation was if a guest wins, has to donate it to
the show, right?
Not to the show. Maybe a needy person, a charity.
I don't.
How about with two? One for the charity and one for
us here. Yeah,
for breakfast.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, if it's a special occasion, I think that's the exemption we can meet. They're real good.
And by the way, I just threw that in, about that. Lawrence is thinking, when did we institute that?
I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't remember that.
Speaking of, I know I heard you guys in the earlier, and I want to say before we leave, don't forget. And I know. 11 to 12 o'clock hours, whatever, is important to Greg, but obviously tomorrow,
he said whatever.
Tomorrow, the WGHQ Happy Christmas Fund, the 12 to 1 hour is the one you really want to tune in for.
Very important.
We're missing a few guests tomorrow, but we got some subs tomorrow. So don't forget, 12 to 1 is the law enforcement hour. If you don't like to digest your lunch, I mean, you can listen to us for an hour.
You get to listen to Eric Benjamin.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to be entertaining.
So now, last year there were 6 or 7 of you from law enforcement.
No, there was only 3. It was Kyle.
There was only 3.
Kyle,
Greg, I duly noted again. I was there last year.
I should
Wait
say.
a minute, I showed up late.
You did. You showed up late.
Okay.
You came around, but it was Kyle and Rob Appleton that held it down last year, and Mary Ann showed up too last year, right?
No, she was gone last year.
I said
She
That
was?
was her year missing too.
Yeah, she wasn't there.
And Chief Sinagra hasn't been there in a while either.
Yeah, I sat.
You forgot, but you came.
I didn't get. I'm there, but I didn't get invited.
That's right. You showed up for that.
Oh,
You guys
because you
still
weren't
did
the-
good though. They did around 12,000 in the hour.
Lieutenant.
Oh,
Yeah, they did around 12,000. Bob and I, just 2 people, we more than doubled them.
Yeah, you guys did around 26.
Now, Greg, that's unfair.
Not to throw a
You
jab.
got some heavy hitters. You're going against some heavy hitters like Chorvis and Sarah Casano from Sorgaties. I mean, you guys are probably browbeating everybody up there.
Yeah, but you guys carry guns. We don't.
We're not as popular as you.
I'll stop.
But and anyway, it's
I wasn't
always
in
good
New
fun.
York City in a unveiling of a video.
That was very. And by the way, we Mr. I forget which Gibbons brother, but we got to listen to ZZ Top down there. It was amazing. It really was an amazing night.
Oh well, maybe if we were
Invited.
I mean, we'd have been able to get to share the same experience.
We got invited. I mean, I
didn't see you on the video either,
They
Kyle.
wanted
they
us to
must have
buy.
missed me.
They missed
Well,
me
look,
too.
they wanted us to buy like a table, and it was like one table was like $5,000, and we're like, whoa! So it's $500 a head.
Expensive table.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a good cause, but,
Right.
But we don't. The state police, I think, was going to buy a table, but we're not big like the state police, So we. So we.
I mean, figure the money they made off their rights from that video, they should be able to buy the table and invite us along.
Yeah, exactly. They're celebrities now.
We were invited as guests, so we didn't have to pay because we were part of the video. So,
So then they would have definitely be able to pay for our seats.
That was
then.
a trade-off.
Exactly.
So, but it was a nice place. I mean, everybody
maybe
was
next
there.
Got a couple pensions.
Superintendent of state police was there. The NYPD commissioner was there. The fire department commissioner was there. It was great. It really was. It was a great time.
Sounds like it was a blast.
Sounds
I'm sorry
like
I
fun.
missed out.
So as we're getting close to the end of another Wednesday morning show, we do a lot of joking here, we do a lot of busting here. To our listeners, to our viewers, and spread the news. The WGHQ Happy Christmas Fund, regardless of what time you call in, the bottom line is,
12 to 1.
When the day comes to an end, hopefully we're able to reach our goal or get close to it. Last year we exceeded our goal.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very, very important to note all the monies that are raised tomorrow all stay in Ulster County.
That's right.
To help our needy, our seniors, and the children that may not get to enjoy what we get to enjoy.
Right.
It goes a long, long way.
Absolutely.
Well said. Well said.
And to the
Absolutely.
listeners that are listening, come down and see Kyle. Come down and see Mario. Come down and see Greg. And, maybe have something to eat. Throw some popcorn at them. Whatever. Come down and
It'll be
see
a
the
fun
host
day.
that you guys hear every week on the radio, but don't actually get to see.
Just to let you know, the people that don't show up are usually free game for.
Oh boy.
Good. I mean, you could listen to the recorded version after the fact.
That's right. But it's not like being there in the real thing, right, Kyle?
And if you can't call in tomorrow, that's not a problem. You can make your pledge to any of these gentlemen here that are sitting here. You can email me, Bob Circasano,
Venmo.
Lawrence, and now Venmo,
That's
yes.
right.
And you can pay electronically via Venmo. And that's
Lawrence
right
is technological savvy now.
Yeah, actually, it was Val Dwyer that took care of the Venmo.
So, Sheriff
I am not computer tech savvy at all.
Sheriff Juan Figueroa, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
For taking time out of your busy day. Captain Mario Restivo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kyle Berardi, Police Chief, Town of Ulster. Fred Costello, thank you. Lawrence, thank you. Most importantly of all, listeners and viewers, thank you. We'll be right back here next Wednesday.